Hey,
Hey.
Hey,
welcome to
friends.
the stage, Kent C. Dodds, Sarah Drasner, and Josh Como.
Yay, hi, thanks.
Hi. Yeah, Kent, you might maybe want to start with us here. I don't know.
Yeah, so I was really honored and pleased about this one. So for those watching who don't know, I'm the author of Testing Library, which is kind of a funny name for something like this. So I think I talked to Satya last year and said, hey, why wasn't Testing Library included? And he said, well, it's kind of a weird one to put because it's like, well, yeah, sure, I use a testing library. But yeah, so I think it's pretty well known now. People seem to be really happy with it, and that was just, it warms my heart. If you look at the usage, it's actually still pretty low, and but I expect this to continue to grow quite a bit because it is not framework specific, and so regardless of the framework you're using, as long as your UI is in the DOM, and even if it's not, because you can use it with React Native, as long as you're building a UI, then you can use Testing Library. So I expect the usage to go up. But yeah, people seem to be pretty happy with it. There are that 3%, and I'm pretty sure I've talked to every single person in that 3% who aren't happy with it. They spare no pains in letting me know how unhappy they are with it. What's interesting about this one too is that like lots of these you're going to be using together. Like I use Jest and Cypress and Testing Library and Storybook. Yeah, like there's a lot of overlap with these different tools that you end up kind of using for different purposes because they kind of serve different purposes.
I wanted to just touch on Gatsby as well. And the thing that is occurring to me more and more over the years, and I should say this is my opinion as an independent person and not as a former Gatsby employee. I don't want to speak for the company. But I kind of feel like Gatsby came out of the React ecosystem because it uses React, and a bunch of React developers jumped on it. And I don't think it's necessarily perfectly aligned with that. I think that where Gatsby is really going is after like the WordPress community, which is like 10 times larger than everything we're talking about. There's all these agencies that are doing all these really cool things with Gatsby that are just like, it's in a totally different pocket of the universe. So I do think that, you know, you look at these numbers and Gatsby's kind of like, you see it on this downwards trajectory. I don't know about that. I think that it's definitely true that that's how it seems from the JavaScript ecosystem, but I'd be surprised. Like, I think that there's more to the story there.
But I think a big trend is Svelte. Like that, to me, if I had to pick one thing this year, that would probably be it. And I guess also TypeScript, but that was already the trend last year. So
yeah, the Svelte thing was the thing that actually was, I was wondering if we were going to get to that later. That was the thing that probably jumped out at me the most, was like the just huge popularity. I did want to give Sasha kudos because I think that the animation and, you know, visualization and graphics this time around, I know it's always constantly improving, but I was really impressed with the level of attention to detail there, and also the ability to see trends over time really, really improved over the past few years.
oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, seriously, I don't know how you come up with the graphs for these things. Like, you have obviously a silly amount of data to represent, and finding a way to represent it in a way that allows us to infer the reality and get the facts out of it. I can't even imagine the challenge that you're up against there. It's really impressive.
Yeah, that's actually the most fun part of the process probably, is figuring out how to display the data, which chart to use, how to, you know, set it up, animate it. Once we've done all the data collection, setting up the API and all that, that's like the really fun part that we enjoy the most, I would say.
I know for myself, I spent so much more time going through it just because I was having fun with it as a product. So I like learned more from it because of the fact that it was so well designed.